천자문,
千字文
千字文
In this lesson, we will look at characters 417 through 424 of the 1000 character classic, the 1500-year-old Chinese classic in which no characters are repeated. The east capital was on the Luo River with Mount Mangshan in the background.
대망멸락,
敗亡面落、
背芒面落
The west capital was near where the Qing and Wei rivers meet.
부의거경,
不意固形、
福味俱精
Let's look at line 105. I'll offer an English translation character by character. Back. Mang, name of a mountain. Surface, face. Lo, name of a river. Together they could be translated as the east capital was on the Luo River with Mount Mangshan in the background. Let's hear it pronounced. You'll hear it from a recording in Korean, Japanese, and Chinese.
대망멸락,
敗亡面落、
背芒面落
Now line 106. Float. Wei, name of a river. Dependence, according. Qing, name of a river. Together they could be translated as the west capital was near where the Qing and Wei rivers meet. Let's hear it pronounced.
부의거경,
不意固形、
福味俱精
Let's look at a few radicals or components. First, look at 417. The top component is the character for north. Note that the characters for south, east, and west all appear in the 1000 classic, while north does not. Pay attention to the radical. It took me a while to realize that in certain characters with the component that looks like the moon radical, the actual radical is the meat one. As you can see with these examples, the meat radical often appears in characters related to body parts, particularly internal organs and food. Then look at 419. This character is one of the 214 Kangxi radicals. It is a common character that stands alone. As a component in other characters, it's quite rare. You'll see it in the traditional character for noodles. The modern simplified Chinese character is actually the radical component part itself. Finally, if you didn't notice already, the water radical appears 4 times in this set of 8 characters. That makes sense, since 3 river names are referenced. Based on the 8 characters of these 2 lines, I've come up with a word list. I've tried to select words that are common and relevant to Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. Now you'll hear the words spoken. Background, scenery.
배경,
背景、
背景
Direction, aspect.
방면,
方面、
方面
Surface area.
면적,
面積、
面积
Luoyang.
로양,
落葉、
洛阳
Come up to the surface.
부상,
浮上、
浮上
Buoyancy.
부력,
浮力、
浮力
Stronghold.
거점,
拠点、
据点
Evidence.
증거,
証拠、
证据
Have a look one more time at the words of this lesson. See which ones you remember. Okay, let's move on. This is the part of the lesson where I give some extended notes on the character, perhaps pose a question or two, and give each character a rating. A rating of 5 suggests the character is common and essential. A rating of 1 suggests the character may be obsolete. This one means back, as in the body part, but just like the English word, it gets used in words like background, and in the case of Korean, backpack. As far as I know, this character is only used to refer to the name of this specific mountain. This is a very common character. It can be used in reference to any surface, ranging from the human face to the flat surfaces of a 3D shape. And as I mentioned before, it refers to noodles in Simple Chinese. This character was used in the name of an ancient capital, which is a city existing today. It could also be used in people's names. This one means float. The Japanese verb uses it in its kunyomi, ukabu. This character also appears in the name of a world-famous traditional Japanese woodblock art style called ukiyo-e, the meaning of which translates as pictures of the floating world. This is the name of a river. It's also a prefectural level city today, which is named after the river. Today it's the home of almost 6 million people. This character is a confusing one. It has many different meanings. For the simplified Chinese version, as well as the modern Japanese version, look nothing like this older version. This is used in the name of a river. It is the tributary of the aforementioned Wei River. That's a wrap for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll look at lines 107 and 108, which look more specifically at the palaces of the capital cities.
천자문,
千字文
千字文
As always, I remind you that I make these videos partly for my own study purposes. My skills are not advanced in these languages, so it's quite likely I've made some mistakes or forgotten something obvious. So if you do notice something or have a question, let me know in the comments. The goal of this channel is to make a video for each line of the 1000 character classic while using the classic as a lens to explore language study methods and connections between the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages. I wish you happy and productive language studies.